Hello, welcome to the Energy Efficiency Vodcast, and our learning targets for this vodcast are to explain why energy efficiency is important and to describe ways to improve energy efficiency. Why is energy efficiency important? Well, it is important to you because it will save you money. If you're using energy efficient appliances, then that will bring down your electric bills, and also it brings down the prices of products too. The way it brings down the price of products is in terms of manufacture. When the industries are using energy efficient ways of producing it, then their bottom line goes down. It's important to your community because when people are using energy efficient products, when people are using energy efficient vehicles, that will lower the amount of pollution because less energy is being used, so less fossil fuels are being burned. It also will lower the amount of taxes because you won't need as much money to run the government. It's important to industry. When they use recycled materials, that's much more efficient than getting stuff out of the ground, so recycled materials are much less expensive. Also, as I mentioned before, when lower electric bills mean that the cost to build something is less. It's important to the environment because there's less environmental degradation. And also in terms of climate change, when they noticed in an interview on one of the Sunday talk shows between Bill Nye the Science Guy and a congresswoman who is an important chairperson who's also a climate change denier, is that when it comes to these climate change deniers, the argument that's needed in order to get them to respond to climate change, efficiency is something that works with them. Climate change does not, but efficiency does. Energy efficiency is important to future generations. It is the cheapest way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It is the cheapest way to reduce pollution and also environmental degradation. Here are some ways to make your home efficient. If you insulate and plug leaks, that is the quickest and cheapest way to save energy and money.
Welcome to the crawl space in my house. Here's the roof, and one mistake that they made when they put this together. You see here there's no insulation, which is as it should be. Over here there is. You want to leave this pretty much open so it doesn't overheat in the summer and releases its heat. And there, since I got the new roof on, actually is some ventilation here. Here's something I added when I moved in. This is insulation. It's recycled paper basically. And if you look closely, you could actually see some writing on the paper. What this does is it holds a lot of air, and air is a great insulator. The only thing is a better insulator than air is a vacuum. And by putting it between the living space, like you see over here, this fiberglass insulation, by putting it between the living space and the roof, that will truly insulate the house, and none of this stuff cost pays itself within just a few years. Can't see it there. I had a fan put in to cool this off in the summer, and when they put the new roof in, that was taken out, and I have better insulation than was originally here with the old roof. You want to keep the temperature in this area over here down during the summer, because when it's really, really hot, having it very hot here and not so hot on our second floor, that huge differential will end up with us losing heat. And that's one reason for the insulation here, and the ventilation allows this area to cool off during the summer.
The winter is the easiest way to check to see how good your insulation is. A couple of days after it snows, look at the roofs of people's homes. You notice that some roofs are still covered with snow, and some not so much. The ones that are still covered with snow have good insulation because the heat from their home has not melted the snow, and the ones which are bare of snow have very poor insulation because the heat from their home has escaped and melted the snow. And insulating your home is something that will pay itself within a few years in lower heating bills. Energy efficient windows help a great deal too. They cut heating loss by 2/3 by reducing cooling costs. One thing all energy efficient windows have is that they are double paned, and the air that's in between them, which usually is not the same air that we have here, could be a special insulating type of air, and it could also be a vacuum. Ceiling duct joints. Ducts are things that the air goes through for heating and air conditioning if you have forced air that's heating your home or cooling your home. It's not just one solid metal going through there. The duct joints are where the metal gets joined. And if those joints between those pieces are not sealed, then that's a place for the hot or cold air to escape. Light colored roofs is something that can help a great deal in the summer because that's something that's going to reflect the sunlight. and that's going to keep the upper floors of your home much cooler. Heat more efficiently. Use super insulation, geothermal heat, passive solar heating. Those are two things we'll be getting into in another vodcast. And a high efficiency natural gas furnace. Heat water more efficiently. There's a solar water heater, we'll get into that in another vodcast. Natural gas tankless water heater, that's something which will only heat the water when you're using the water. So there's no storage of the water. So that saves from heating up the water when you don't need it. And this is only good if using natural gas. If it's electric, then it's not quite so efficient. Using Energy Star appliances, these appliances use less energy and also less water if it's a water appliance. Energy efficient lighting, and these are compact fluorescent bulbs and also LED bulbs. Using these bulbs compared to the incandescent bulbs, which according to law are now on the way out, like right now you cannot buy old 100-watt incandescent bulbs. They cost more up front, but in the long run they're a lot cheaper because they save you quite a bit of money in energy bills. We went into this in an earlier podcast. You can make your home efficient with your thermostat. Every degree of temperature that's raised in the summer reduces cooling costs by 8%. And if you lower your thermostat at night and when you're away, that's going to save you money.
Okay, this here is our boiler. Our home is heated by natural gas, and what it does is it heats up hot water, which then gets pumped throughout the home to radiators. An inefficient way of it being heated would be for it to turn on and to pump the water throughout the whole home. What we have here is we have 4 zones. Each zone has a different thermostat, so they all can be set to different temperatures depending on when they're being used. Like this one over here, which is off right now, though actually it's on. I can feel water going through it, but it was just turned on. This goes to our second floor. This bigger one here is the first floor, the main floor, and there's no water going through it, but it was just on. This one is off, but it was on a while ago. I can feel it's warm, but it's not too hot to touch. And this is to our enclosed porch, and this one's to the basement, and this has been off for quite a while. It's water there is just about room temperature. So this is a way to make things efficient. The heat's only used in places where it's needed. Some areas need heat more than others, and this allows it to be heated more efficiently. Like the porch here needs to be heated more often when we use it. So if we had only one thermostat, if the thermostat was there, every other place would be scorching. If the thermostat wasn't there, then the porch would always be freezing.
There are also special thermostats too, which will work on a timer so that you don't have to remember to change it. And there are also ones that can work with your smartphone so that you can change the settings when you're away, so that when you're coming home you just work on that app to turn the heat on so that when you come home the house is nice and warm, and while you're away it was cold. Conserving water also saves energy by reducing the demand for hot water. So if you use something like a water efficient shower head, it will save water and it will also save energy. You're not taking as much hot water out of your hot water heater, and that will use up less energy to heat the water because there's less water to heat. Also repairing leaky faucets do that, and also using an insulated water heater blanket will help with that too, because less heat is going to escape from the water heater. You can wash using cooler water and do full loads. With cooler water you can use something like this. This over here is a detergent with special enzymes, so it can do the job of a regular type of detergent at hot water and does the exact same job for cold water. Efficiency in transportation. Over a quarter of the energy used in the United States is consumed in transportation. Increased efficiency is driven by government standards. The corporate average fuel economy, called CAFE, are the standards. And the 2008 law raised those standards to 35 miles per gallon by 2020. However, this still puts the United States behind other countries. European Union and Japan have about 40 miles per gallon as their standard. Fuel-efficient vehicles, and what makes a vehicle fuel-efficient has over 35 miles per gallon. Those are available, but less than 1% of the vehicles sold in the United States are fuel-efficient, and that's because they're low gas prices. I remember when I was younger than you are, we had the oil crisis, and when the oil crisis came, there were a lot of people buying fuel-efficient vehicles because that would be saving a lot of money. But then once the oil crisis ended, gas prices went back down, and once that came back down, the gas guzzlers came back. Now, most fuel-efficient vehicles are hybrids. The best ones are the Toyota Prius and the Honda Civic hybrid. Even better than those are the plug-in hybrids, and plug-in hybrids are ones when you plug it into your home current. Efficiency in industry. Industry uses approximately 30% of the world's energy and approximately 38% of the United States energy. The largest consumers of the energy is used for making metals, making chemicals, making cement, and making paper. One way of increasing the efficiency is something known as cogeneration, where it's combining heat and power. That saves energy and it saves money because the same fuel source is used to produce two useful forms of energy. An example of this is a power plant is producing steam to run the generators, and then after that steam runs the generators, that steam is then used to heat the building. You can replace energy-wasting electric motors with efficient electric motors. Use recycled materials, and the steel from recycled iron uses 75% less energy from steel than from iron ore, and we went over the reasons for this in a much earlier vodcast. And use fluorescent and LED lighting. And New York City is saving $6 million per year by switching traffic lights to LED, and that $6 million saving comes from both maintenance and also in electric costs. Now, energy efficiency needs to be promoted. The ways to promote it, one way is in education, it can be done in schools, like in our course, in colleges, and also on TV. Fossil fuels can be taxed, and you can use those taxes to subsidize mass transit and non-fossil fuel transportation. There can also be a fee-based system where those who buy gas guzzlers pay a fee. There used to be one in the United States, but it was abolished in 1999 by President Clinton. There's also the National Appliance Conservation Act, which was passed in 1987, and that established energy efficiency standards for all new appliances. But it does not instruct on how to reach those standards, and that leaves a lot of freedom on how to do that. Another way to promote energy efficiency is to expand that act to new homes and to other buildings rather than just leave it with appliances. The Energy Stars program is a voluntary program, and those who meet that standard get the Energy Star label. And similar to that is the Green Building Certificate, and buildings that meet those energy efficiency standards are given that certificate and can use that when selling or leasing the building or space in that building. Just like appliances that have the Energy Star label, use that when they're selling or advertising that product. Peak pricing of utilities can promote energy efficiency by charging customers more for electricity during peak hours because it costs utilities more. Less use during peak hours will mean fewer power plants. And the Motor Vehicle Safety Act, one of the things that it gave was strict emission standards on cars. Now we come to our concluding questions. And for these 3 questions, state one way to increase energy efficiency in the home, the car, and industry. That concludes this podcast, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.